Welcome back, my friends. We are out here at the range today. We're going to be shooting some 223 62 grain full metal jackets here. We're going to be starting at 100 yards. We're going to do 3 5-shot groups over the chronograph, and then we're going to move out to 200 yards and do 3 more 5-shot groups and see how we can do today. You can see it's a little overcast and cloudy. We are expecting some rain at some point, but that's not going to stop old Dummy. It's about 80 degrees today. Feels actually really nice, low humidity, and I'm ready to shoot some groups, so let's get at it, folks.
$2,925. $2,919. $2,927. $2,902. $2,931.
Okay, we just finished our first 5 shots here. No extreme pressure signs. We still have some roundness left on our primers. Not too bad there. And our velocity numbers here, we have an average of 29.20, extreme threat of 29, and a standard deviation of 10. Well, let's go check out the target. Here we are at the target. This is our first shot, cold bore. I'm going to ignore that. But here we are with our shots 2 through 5. We are probably 1.5 to 2 inches right now. So I'm trying to get settled in, and hopefully I'll bring it back in and we'll do a little better here on these next 2. So stick with me and we'll get back to the bench and shoot our next 2 groups. And that brings us up to where we are right now. If you remember, our first 5 shots were here, and it was just a total dumpster fire, dog turd mess. So the next 5 shots, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 was over here, I do believe. A gigantic, stinking, disgusting 6 inches probably here at 100 yards. No bueno. So I, gather myself. I go, okay, this load was doing just well for the other bullet a while back. So, just changing the bullet doesn't magically make it work with that charge. But anyways, here's our last group of 5 at 100. This is actually the best thing of the day that we were able to do, but it's still not good. That's at least 3 inches at 100 yards. And we have 3 that almost want to hang out together, and then 2 more that are just don't want anything to do with it. So this was frustrating, as I had loaded up 30 rounds. And so that was actually our first 15 rounds here on this. And you can see that we have 20 rounds that we shot through. I went and tried 5 at 200 yards. And let's pretend I had this exact same target hung up at 200, the vertical paper with the 3 dots. I'm aiming at this top dot here, and the 5 shots I tried, I had 1 way low right here, and the rest I believe were even lower or further left or right or really anywhere. It's hard to tell. So that was rather frustrating. And I'm not usually one to just be like, well, that sucks, and pack up and go home. But I didn't even shoot this last 10 rounds. It's a total waste of components, at least in this configuration. Maybe we can try different powder with that bullet. Maybe we can, pull those apart, do something else with them. We were also shooting some 350 Legend. And while this is actually just me getting sighted in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I brought it back down for their 5th shot here. This one wasn't about grouping. It actually worked. It functioned. But these were 5 rounds I'd loaded up probably a year ago. I knew they had worked, so I used those 5 to get sighted in. And then today's test was actually over here, where we didn't have such luck. We go to our next target. We're testing 1680 here, again with the Hornady soft points. So for this test, I was doing 5 3-shot groups, starting here with 26.5 grains and then all the way up to 28.5. But you can see I only fired 3 from this group here, and I ended up getting a second one of these to fire, but it wasn't fun. And we still have all these left to test. So what was our malfunction? They had actually been set back due to lack of crimping. So now I came back with my Lee Collett die and freaking torqued down on this son of a gun. He's not going anywhere.
there. I checked and actually chambered a few off the magazine. Anyways, it was a mess trying to get these to work. I had to actually use my small base sizing die for the Legend, take out the decapping rod, I lubed up these cases, and then I ran the entire cartridge through it because we had these huge, disgusting marks on our brass bulging out, and it wouldn't even pass the ammo checker at this point. So I ran the whole thing back through the small base die without the rod, of course. That actually smoothed out the case perfectly. Now it's just like brand new, like it came out of the tumbler, but covered in Redding Imperial wax. After that, I had to get my inertia bullet puller. And because my collet in that is screwed up, there's a little trick where you can use your normal shell holder for your press and use that in your inertia bullet puller. So I had to go that route. I gave them all a couple of whacks and they almost fell out. They were that loose. But now I've got my Lee factory crimp die freaking torqued down here, brother. I'll tell you what. Just look at them delicious collet teeth right up in there. Now I did measure it. It's not crushing the bullet or anything. I actually pulled one out again after that just to check. So it's a good setting. Again, I ran them through the gun, fully functioned, no problem this time, and no setback either. And you can see the nose here where I tested a few of them where they hit the feed ramps. But now they're good and stuck in place, not over crimped, but just enough crimp. So that was another failure. I had to abandon that test. But the results I did get from that test weren't useless, except I'm not certain that I can trust the accuracy here. If they were all jamming into the feed ramp and getting set back to different lengths, who knows if these two were set back the same and this one got jammed in further or didn't get jammed in at all. Hard to tell, so I'm pretty much gonna have to restart. So after having a failure to fire here, re-rack it, send it back through, all that good stuff, I got all 3 shots there. And here we have only 2 shots with our second charge weight. And again, they're the same distance as this first group in the same spot on the paper. So could it be slamming in the feed ramp? Is it a crappy charge weight? It's hard to tell. I'm gonna have to just retest it. So again, more frustrations. And it was at this point when I called it and said, nope, no more Legend today. I gotta go home and crimp the dog snot out of these bad boys here, okay? So that was a bust, right? Got all this loaded up late Friday night before the range. No good. But since I didn't go back today to test it on Sunday, I got to, reload some other things that I was able to test. So here I only have 3 cases left, and there's about 12 layers of writing on it, but we can see 17.04227, 18 and 19 grains here. That's what we were testing. And those were with our cast Lee 358 200 grain bullet. So those all functioned. So here we have more of that charge loaded up. Well, we have one of those charges loaded up to test. You'll have to stick around for that one. But anyways, we have more loaded up. There's no issues feeding. There's no setback with them. And now if I dial in a load with this, we'll make some progress with that. Anyways, here was our first shot, 17 grains, 18 grains, and 19 grains. As you can see, climbing right up the paper there. But I need to pull back into the right with my 0. But anyways, it functioned on all those. I got velocity readings. That's good stuff. Not a failure. But aside from those 3 rounds doing what I needed them, today was pretty much a crapshoot at the range. So don't be upset when you go and your gun's jamming up and so on and so forth. There's always other things to look forward to. Especially if you learn what doesn't work. That helps you a lot in the future, because I'm a believer in trial by error, learning from experience, so on and so forth. You basically have to go and get burned by the fire to know what to or to not do in that certain situation. So it wasn't a total loss. It was, however, frustrating at the time. But now I'm going to actually go back and test what I went there for and get the results I want next time we get there. But wait, there's more. So I was done testing my stuff for the day. So I always bring some 9mm ammo. Went ahead and blasted the target at, 15 or 20 yards or whatever, just to get in a little bit of trigger time. As we can see, I'm always pulling down and right, which, whoops, I need to work on that. But anyways, we're on paper there. We got to shoot and get some practice time in. That's always good. Aside from the brass I shot, I collected these 9mm shells. I collected 4 9mm Kurz shells here. Some are nickel plated. That's very nice. Okay. Got a couple pieces of 45 ACP. 2 World Wars, brother. Yeehaw! And some 30-06 brass. I think this is more stuff from a couple weeks ago, but I keep finding them pop out through the grass. So, yay for more of those. I don't even shoot 30-06, but good for the collection. And furthermore, I was able to collect almost 23 pounds worth of range scrap lead here. I pretty much pick them all up by hand. Sometimes I use a little kitty pooper scooper sifter, but it had just rained, so these were basically sitting right on top of the ground. So I just pick them up by hand. There's not much mud or dirt or rocks in there, so almost all that weight is either lead or jackets. And I generally get about 70 to 80% yield from turning this into ingots. So if I had 22 pounds, I'll probably end up with 15 to 18 pounds, I'm guessing, of usable lead for casting bullets. So that's also a great thing from the range, although I didn't get the results I wanted earlier in the day. And you guys know me, I'm not scared of digging through the trash and looking for the real good stuff. And by real good stuff, I just mean some empty containers that have these nice trays for sorting and counting. And you can also flip these inside out and relabel them as your own for storage. So I try to collect ammo boxes that still have the trays left in them. But then there was this feller here. I picked him up. He was a little heavier than all the others. So guess what's inside? Not only do we have this box with a tray in it, but we've got 50 pieces of Federal 38 Special Once Fired brass right off the range floor. So aside from the lead, this is probably my achievement of the day, if you will. You know, made it worth my time rather to go and do all this nonsense. But you know, you can't win them all as far as shooting and testing and all that, but you can always walk home with more than you took with you. Which in my eyes is a win. Some people show up just to pick up brass. I like to go, I like to test my stuff, I like to practice, I like to gather things because I'm a hoarder. It's okay, you are too, you can admit it, no big deal. So there you are, folks, just a quick little lesson that, you know, it's not always about load development and all that. There's always other things you can collect and gather from the range other than data. And you know, we don't always have to go for testing either. We can just go for target practice, which you can see I need more of. So anyways, don't let it get you down if you're having a crappy day. There's always something else going on. And if you enjoy this sort of content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We will see you in the next video. Have a good one.